welcome back to the Tune Project. Today I'm super excited to be sharing with you a requested tutorial. This request is from Carrie Yu, and she has requested Tennessee Whiskey, and I think this is a great song, love Chris Stapleton, so I hope you enjoy this one, and let's get started. Alright, so since this one is a song rather than a fiddle tune, instead of breaking this up like I usually do by the A section and the B section, we're going to be dividing it by the verse and the chorus. With the song, if you listen to the intro, it comes in right from the beginning with an instrumental opening, an instrumental introduction. So, and that is basically just the chorus. So we're going to start by learning that intro, and if you have that intro, you basically have the chorus as well. And since this is a slower song, I'm actually going to be just teaching this with my metronome. So hopefully that'll kind of clarify the beats and everything, because sometimes we do have rests here and there, or we have sustained notes that are longer than usual. So I think having the metronome right off the bat will be helpful for that. So I have my metronome set to 45 beats per minute, and we are in 4/4 time. So we're starting on the D string on our first finger E. Okay, so that was there's a bit of a break in between those two sections, but they were both very short, so hopefully you were able to catch both of those. So we had our sustained note on the C sharp, and then we just ended that last section on a B. So we're still on the intro, and for this next part of it, we start on a C sharp. So turning the metronome on. So now, jumping into the verse, there are a couple things to keep in mind. One is that it is very similar to the chorus, so hopefully that kind of makes it a bit easier to work with and not confusing, because there is a little bit of repetition happening. So I'll try to clarify that as much as I can as we're going through. And another quick thing before we jump into the verse, I will not be using my metronome for the verse just because it is a little bit faster paced with him singing the lyrics. Chris does take some rubato in his phrases when he's singing. It's a little bit more free rather than tied metronomically to the beat. He kind of comes and goes as he pleases. It's almost a little bit improvisatory, which is interesting. So we're not going to use the metronome for the verse for that reason, but if at the end, after learning all of this, you want to go back and play it with the metronome all at once so you can see kind of how everything fits in rhythmically, then definitely do that. And we start the verse on a C sharp. Okay, so there we do have a little bit of a grace note situation happening where we go from our C sharp to B to A, all very quickly in a short amount of time. So hopefully you're able to pick that up, but that is what Chris does vocally in this first part of the verse. So if you want to be accurate, that's the way to do it. Next part of the verse, again, comes in on a C sharp, and this time we go up to the E string. And then ending on that C sharp as well. Next part, again, starting on that same C sharp, similar phrase, but we do have a couple of differences in this one as we go to the D string this time, so listen for that. And now we begin on an F sharp, this time starting on the D string, and this is the last phrase of the verse. And ending with those open A's. Okay, so now we move into the chorus, and this is the part that everybody recognizes, of course. So we play the same notes that we started off with in the intro of the song. So you'll probably recognize these. We start on an E again on the D string. And now here's where it comes a little bit different from the intro. We go up to the E string. So we begin on a C sharp and then we make our way up to E and then come back down to A. Okay, so a little bit of a roundabout way to get back down to the A string, back to that C sharp, but hopefully that all made sense. Okay, so this next phrase is where Chris does some vocal acrobatics. He does a long run, so I've kind of modified that for the violin, so it makes a little bit more sense for this instrument. So hopefully you're able to follow this, and we start on the E string this time, so on an open E. So still following that same rhythmic pattern that we've been using throughout this song so far. And now for this last phrase of the chorus, we start on the D string on an F sharp. So the rest of the song is basically the same thing. We have another verse, another chorus, and then the song continues. And the notes, the structure of the melody is basically the same as what you just learned with that first verse and chorus and intro, with the exception of a little bit of liberty that Chris adds with his vocals. And he kind of just sings, again, almost kind of in an improvisatory way, where he's just singing what he feels, and that's really what it sounds like. And I think that's what makes this song so appealing, so unique, and so fun and interesting to listen to, because it does have that sort of improv quality to it where it's a little bit bluesy. And I would definitely encourage you as the fiddle player in this situation to definitely take liberties wherever you want. Now, you've learned the melody, you've learned the chorus, you've learned the basic structure of the song, so I would definitely encourage you to just make any sort of adjustments or kind of just put your own stamp on this song, because it doesn't have to be exactly word for word, note for note, exactly how the song was originally recorded. I always say, you know, when I learn a song that is sung, like this one, like Tennessee Whiskey, I always use the basic form and kind of go based on what the singer is doing, which can sometimes be a little bit looser, like in this case. So it's fun to kind of follow those patterns in a song. But again, it's fun to also just take your own interpretation on a song and make it yours and make it sound good for your instrument. So I would definitely encourage you to do that with this one. And a couple of ways that I do that with this one is by adding slides and double stops. So you'll notice that the overall quality of this song is very bluesy. It's kind of has a little bit of a country bluesy feel to it. So what I tend to do is I'll add in some slides here and there on certain notes. So for example, sliding into the notes that are more sustained. Right, just to add that little bit of edge and add a little bit more interest to the tune so it's not so classical sounding, right? And then another thing that you could do, as I mentioned, is double stops. So you could definitely easily throw in just an open E against that A string melody in the chorus. So how I would do that would be like this. So those are just a couple of examples of ways that you can As a fiddle player, use your instrument to your advantage and make this sound like a fiddle tune and really have fun with it. But definitely don't just stick to my examples. Play around with it and see what you can come up with on your own to make it sound like something that you would want to listen to and that you would really have fun playing. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around and learning Tennessee Whiskey with me. I hope you enjoyed that one, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to also leave a request, then follow the link in the description box below where I have left instructions on my website with exactly how to submit a request. It's super easy, so if that's something that you'd be interested in, then definitely check that out. Thanks again, you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy practicing!